Hi, welcome to Victoria 2 multiplayer guide. In this video I'll be using a save file from our latest multiplayer game, this Collision Wars game. And if you don't know, if you're not familiar with it, in this game there are 26 or maybe 27 players, divided into 4, or actually no, more alliances or coalitions. So we have a German coalition, that is including Netherlands, Germany and Switzerland at the moment. Then we have the Entente, which includes France, Romania and Russia. The Northern Federation, that includes UK, Canada, Mexico. Then the coalition around USA, Colombia, Argentina, and I think Chile will be joining them very soon. And Brazil is also in the coalition with Canada, Empire of Mexico and UK. In Europe we also have one more alliance that I'm part of, which is Scandinavia, Portugal, Ottoman Empire, Austria and two Sicilies. And finally the Eastern Alliance, which includes Spain, Persia, Japan and Australia. Did I forget someone? Oh, Arabia is also in their coalition. So that's basically uncivilized countries plus Australia and Spain in that one. Now, in multiplayer games you have to know what your priorities are. So, for example, if you're let me change to Ottoman Empire, for example. Tag GUI. Have to do it again. I don't know why, but there we go. Now, as you can see, Ottoman Empire in this game, their main focus is on colonization. So what they're doing, if you go to Technology tab, you can see that they have no army tech, very little in commerce and industry. So they only have medicine here, and then they fully focused on culture, which is because they want their literacy to go up. As you can see, they start with around 10% literacy. They're already at 17%, and that's without biologism, which they're researching at the moment. So once they do it, they will have a huge boost to literacy gain. Now their also focus is on navy, so they can colonize a lot of stuff, and everything else is ignored because it's not needed in the moment. Now, for the players that think that game was running kinda slow and there were any big wars except that one in Asia, which we really can't count as a war. Probably the biggest reason for that is UK. What UK player was doing for the most of the game was actually he was stockpiling all of the precious goods, such as clipper convoys. As you can see, he has all of these goods almost fully stockpiled. Not all the goods, but those that you can have and that are quite important. Now, as you can see, clippers are not in high demand now, although I probably should unpause for the moment so you can see that the real demand and supply, because the AI doesn't calculate it instantly. And there we go. Get rid of these. So as you can see, the supply for clippers is only 6 and the demand is 2000. So this basically means that no country aside from UK, France and maybe NGF and Russia can't get those goods at all. No matter how much money you have, you're not getting them because there is not enough supply for them. Also, I think the same thing goes for artillery. Yep, there we go. 40 supply and 2k demand. So if you're trying to make artillery, you're not going to get it anytime soon. So that's probably the reason why you couldn't have gotten some of the resources and why people couldn't make artillery. Now, if UK, I'm pretty sure UK did it intentionally, so they can weaken all the other competitors in the game. And now I'll try to focus on each country and criticize them and say what they should be doing, what they did bad. Now, this is actually my second recording of this video, and the first one was extremely large and long. It lasted for 1.5 hours, which I think is too long for a guide. So I'm just going to re-record it. Now, I'm not going to comment on every country because there are some experienced players. I don't think I need to comment on them. And also some players just simply made same mistakes, so not going into that. Now as for USA, USA is in a very tough position. They're surrounded by Canada and Empire of Mexico, which are allied with UK, which can crash them at any point. And probably the best way for USA to stay alive there was to get some military tax, get some armies, and get immigrants as much as possible. Now, the migration map won't show anything because I need to have game on pause for at least a week so that AI can calculate everything. But anyway, about USA. So they have one army of 2 regiments here, and then 15,000 here. This is a rather small army for them, but they did lose some wars against the Nova coalition. Now as for economy, they're in terrible shape. First of all, I suggest never reducing education. Should always keep it at 100%. As for construction, if you're really doing terrible in terms of money, then you can consider that lowering that to 1%, so that you will be getting goods, but you will not get them instantly, but it'll take some time. Also, military spending, for the moment I think it's okay to lower it down until you start making some money. As for tax, unfortunately USA starts with the best tech school, but in this position it means nothing because he couldn't use it because he had to focus on army tech. So focusing on culture here is okay. I don't think researching prestige techs was beneficial for USA, although they are a great power only because of prestige right now. I think they could have done it without it, and I think this is kind of a waste of time. If they went state of government, they would have, I think, more focus points. Yeah, they would. So that's also nice. Industry, they don't really need to focus on it. Medicine is always great. Inorganic chemistry, one of the okay techs. But the commerce is where they should focus. So ad hoc money bill printing is one of the best techs in the game for making money. So that is a must. And then stock exchange is not really useful. As you say, you don't, well, at this point at least, you don't have colonies, so most of your income, and also slaves are not paying any taxes, so that's kinda bad. What I should go here for is business regulations and perhaps power to increase the money gain there. I don't know what is he spending so much money on. Perhaps navy? He only has 7 ships. But perhaps trying to get rid of this navy might be a good choice, so you can save some money. Although I don't really see why is he losing so much money at the moment. Perhaps stockpiling some goods or buying something. This should be okay in days to come. Now, as for the future, I would definitely suggest staying out of the wars with Canada and Mexico until USA gets strong. Although they might declare war on USA, so he'll have to fight it. I don't see how he can win this without help from other great powers. Also, Brazil is very strong in South America, so I don't know how they're going to cope with them. But we'll see. And USA is pretty much in terrible shape. I think it's too late for any great tips for them, but they can save from basically destruction. As for text, that's pretty much it. Money, I covered that, and I really don't know what else I can say for USA. They're in terrible spots. Shouldn't go for railroads or forts there, because A, he can lose that land, and B, it will cost him a lot of money. So perhaps the best thing he can do is to gather their armies in one huge stack and then hope for the Great General and beat the Mexicans and Canadians in some battles. That's pretty much it. Let's change to Colombia. Yeah, I have to do it twice. I don't know why the game is made like that. So Colombia has no troops. That's bad. That's really bad. Now, as for something I forgot to mention is national focus points for USA. But I think they're doing it okay. As for Colombia, they don't have money, they don't have army. They're in a war with Brazil, so... Oh wait, I think the AI declared war there. So, that doesn't mean anything. Now as for the budget, this is terrible. I know they need some soldiers, but lowering education is terrible. Never do that. They lowered construction, that is okay. They have no navy, so lowering this won't help. Also, army is not there. I don't know where they're spending money. They shouldn't be building man of wars. That's terrible. And then let's check the tax. Colombia starts with terrible tax. He researched commerce here. I don't agree with this at all. The most he needed was ad hoc money bill printing, and then completely ignore commerce and go for culture fully. Political thought and social thought is a must for them. Yeah, they also have no medicine, which is something they should get. I don't see why they are getting mechanical production, since they have no factories and they are not even close to industrializing at any point soon. So this is a waste of research points. I don't know. I'll probably finish this one, mechanical production, so you don't waste any more research points, and then go for ideological thought, maybe getting a Malthusian thought first, and then switch to ideological thought and try to get medicine as soon as possible. Or also, one of the goals should be to get biologism as soon as possible. So completely ignore army tech, since they have no army. Navy also not needed for Colombia. Go for culture. He wasted a lot of research points here, so that will slow him down a bit. As for national focuses, he's trying to get some soldiers here, but that's not really helpful. Should switch that to getting clergymen. Until he reaches 3 or 4%. Although it seems like he already did that and then switched to soldiers. Well, that's kinda okay. Colombia is in pretty bad shape here. They will not be able to fight any war soon. So let's switch to Argentina. Okay, get rid of those. Oh, Argentina has no money. That's bad. But at least they have some decent army. Okay, their army composition is terrible, because for sieging you need some cavalry. Engineers are not really useful in South America. There are no forts here as far as I can see. So engineers are not going to help you that much, and they will just cost you money. I suggest getting simple cavalry. Don't even bother making dragoons or hussars. Go with cavalry, it will save you money, and at this point it's still very useful. Also, if possible, try to make one artillery regiment. Their brigades are quite populated, so They don't have to worry about undermanned brigades. So Argentina is doing quite well when it comes to army, and can be the saving grace for their coalition. Fortunately, I don't know why, but they made some frigates and man of wars. Should be deleting this fleet as soon as possible to save money. See, they would save at least 15 there. And then also again, education to the maximum, tariffs also to the maximum. Although they're not getting too much money from tariffs, that's probably because they're in a sphere. Yep, they're in a sphere of USA, so USA is not making them a favor by sphering them. That's terrible. USA should release them from a sphere so Argentina can make some money. Otherwise they will die. Now they do have some army tax, and that's kinda okay because they have some army. But I definitely suggest getting army professionalism here. That's the best tech tree. Army leadership is the best tech tree for the early game. So get that. Completely ignore the navy, commerce. If you're having money problems, go for this one, and then fully focus on culture again. Also get medicine. Get medicine as soon as possible. That'll help them a lot. So that's for Argentina. I can switch to Brazil, although Brazil kind of what's the tag for Brazil? Some tags are really confusing for Victoria here. Brazil is kind of doing okay. He also has some industry there. Now let's see what armies he has here. He has some artillery. I don't know if he's feared by UK. Let me check. Nope. See, UK is not bothered fearing their allies from the coalition, so they can make some money on their own. Now this is a pretty decent size army, and also decent army composition. I think this one dragoon is extra. You can do without them. So something like this is okay. And then if you can make some more brigades, I suggest engineers. Again, not really needed at this point in South America. I would get one more infantry regiment there, so that he has the same amount of infantry and artillery there. Now as for budget, tariffs are the maximum. He's a democracy, so he can't get any more than 25%. Again, education, I'll go for the max, although I'm not sure, maybe, yeah, I changed those once I unpause the game, which is probably the reason why. Taxes are not really worth lowering here. His militancy is quite low, so that's okay. Construction, and I don't know, is he making, yeah, he's making a crap ton of frigates, I don't know why. I would just delete those, you don't need them, because frigates, if he's trying to stay a secondary power, then he should be making man of wars, because frigates don't count in military score, only capital ships count. Of course, frigates are good at fighting, but I didn't see who is he going to fight in naval battles. But that's kind of okay. Budget, I covered that one. So let's get back to tax. He has few army tax. This is okay. Army professionalism the best one, then muzzleloader rifles, mobility, and this. Okay, military plans kinda the worst one at the moment. Naval tax, he doesn't need any. Commerce, this is okay. We'll consider going for freedom of trade, maybe. And here again, pretty good. Romanticism not really needed. Biologism is priority, and from industry he needs medicine, and that's okay. So national focuses, he already has 4. That's the difference. And he already has almost 3% clergymen, so they're doing quite okay there. Encouraging soldiers at the moment is not a bad choice, not the best one though. And then the industry is doing terrible. I wouldn't go with that at all. I don't know if someone... it's probably UK investing in Brazil. 36k, I think that's 2 factories, so most of these factories were built by Brazil. I would get rid of those 2 and then keep these working. Also get rid of this one. Mato Grosso, I'm not sure where that one is. Anyway, here, that's not the best province for fabrics. I would switch it to here. Since these provinces have cotton, so that's probably something you should work on. Encouraging craftsmen in La Paz is kind of okay at the moment, since he has a huge factory there. But I wouldn't be going for industrializing right now. I think it's too early. It's only 1856, so it's kind of a waste of time. Now, that's pretty much it for America. One more country that might be interesting to cover is Hawaii, but Hawaii is kind of an experienced player and they're pulling some next level strategies, so that might confuse new players. So I'll be switching to Europe. So let's go to Spain. There we go. Now as for Spain, your main focus is on literacy. And he's okay, doing okay here, not getting any military tax, not needed. As for commerce, I would definitely rather get ad hoc money bill printing. As you can see, it gives you +6 tax efficiency and +5% administration efficiency. And the stock exchange only gives you +8 tax efficiency, so in that regard, this one is much better tech. As for culture, he definitely wants political thought, so he can get more focus points. He only has 2 out of possible, well, 8, but that's not realistic. If you can get at least 4, that would be enough. As for industry, he has medicine. I don't agree with this at all. I think he wasted points not spending in political thought. Industrializing early with Spain is terrible. They do have decent goods, but see, literacy only 24%, that's terrible. So as for budgets, this is also terrible. Tariffs should go up to 100%. Then administration is okay to be at 50%. Soldiers can go to 100%, not necessarily. And education has to go up to 100% definitely. This would also mean that he can increase construction spending to 100%, and I don't know if he's engaged. He does seem to be engaged in war against China, so military spending can remain high. But definitely I would like to keep tariffs at 100%. There is absolutely no need. He is only making 1 factory, and that 1 factory will make no change when it comes to tariffs, so keeping tariffs at 0% is just hurting his country at the moment. Anything else? National focuses on soldiers. I don't know. I would still like to see some more clergymen there, since he's falling behind with literacy, even at this point. I think that's quite bad. As for armies, it doesn't need guards at this point. Guards are very expensive type of infantry, and they're only good at attacking. This is kind of too much of cavalry. 1 or 2 regiments at the maximum will do. Otherwise, you simply want to keep infantry and artillery at the same rate. Now as for other armies, this one is much better. 4 to 4, that's completely okay. As for the navy, only clipper transports, so that's completely okay again. And that's pretty much it. For Spain, definitely I would switch tax and increase tariffs. That's the main focus. Now let's switch to their coalition member. Australia, I think he's ASP. Yep. Now Australia was played by AI towards the end of the session, so this might not be completely accurate. Definitely this is terrible. Industrial tax are not needed, although they do start with some decent tax in the beginning because they are released from UK. So I would definitely go with medicine. Now they do have some pretty decent population of clerks there. Culture, definitely go with ideological thought to increase the amount of research points through plurality. Social thought is actually biologism is not a high priority here because they already have 50% literacy and above. Navy should be mostly their focus. Army, they don't have huge army there, although they will get some immigrants very soon, so they will have increased man pool. So definitely I suggest focusing on Navy, Commerce. Commerce is a better tech for them than Industry. Industry they can switch later on. Industry is good for Australia, but later on. So definitely medicine, get medicine as soon as possible. And again, as for budget, education to the maximum, tariffs to the maximum, no need to keep them low. As for stockpiles, you're not in any war, so you can lower this to 0 and get construction to the max. Administration again. Here you can set it at 50, it's not going to hurt you. As for Navy, they... oh, it's bugged. Okay, they have only 4 clippers, so that's not a huge deal. I covered budget. Australian South Islands, I would close this one. New South Wales, let me check what resources you have there. Okay, this is not a bad province, but the factories you built are bad. You would like a liquor factory there. Close this one, it's absolutely waste. Machine parts, you can keep those because I think they're still in high demand. Yep. So you might want to keep that one. And the Northern Territory, I think they have some tropical wood from what they gained against the UK coalition, so they can keep this factory. Wait, where is it? Yeah, this one will make them some money. You don't need more than 1 machine parts factory at this point. So get rid of that. Explosive factory is one of the worst factories in the beginning. Get rid of that. Will cost you money. Glass factory is okay. And yet another fabrics factory. It does seem to be making money at the moment, but ultimately I don't think it's a profitable factory there. Cement factory is okay. In the early game, it doesn't make a huge amount of money, but it's okay. Now as for the budget, terrorists at 100% okay. Education 100%. This is quite okay. Everything here is okay. I don't know if I did actually. I might have switched. Anyway, I did cover text, so focus is on craftsmen. I would really suggest getting at least 2% clergymen. That is minimum, and then if you want, you can go to 3%, because if you're having less than 2%, then you're not getting maximum amount of research points there. So that's pretty much it for Australia. I'm not going to switch to Japan because Japan is doing some crazy stuff and it'll be confusing. Getting to Persia. Now, as you can see, all of this land here, Punjab, and then Sindh, also these lands, that was all controlled by Hawaii. They declared war and then they called UK in. So there was a huge war against them, and they lost everything. So now Persia and Japan are westernized. Now as Persia, they do seem to be in a terrible shape. They only have 4 out of 16 possible brigades. And they do have some nice prestige. Military power also quite okay. And let's check their... Whoa, their budget is terrible. Increase theirs instantly. Are they... they're in Russian sphere, so if possible, try to ask Russia if you can get out of their sphere. Because that would benefit you greatly. You're not going to get any money, even with one tariffs at 100%. So if you don't get out of Russian sphere, then keeping tariffs at 0 is probably the best choice. Military spending, I don't know. I think don't need any armies at the moment. Just go for administration and education at maximum. Ignore military, and then well, this should also get lower. Because making brigades, not needed, not needed, not needed, not needed. Since you're fighting China, I strongly suggest getting only cavalry, 2 or 3 stacks like this, and then go for irregulars. I know that Persia can already make infantry. Well, they are actually westernized, so they can make infantry, and that will beat up China, but they're not really going to be fighting side in this war. Just let Japan deal with them. I'm pretty sure Japan can handle China at this stage. I think they're also westernized. Yep, they're secondary power, so Japan can deal with China. You just simply have to wait and save your army, save your men. No need for you to fight there. Now as for tax, the first one you would like to get is medicine, and after that fully focus on culture. Fully focus on culture, ignore everything. You do have a decent literacy for the country that just westernized. Persia does start with a high literacy, but then since you already got Afghanistan and Punjab, his literacy decreased, which he can fix with culture tax. Also again, you might want ad hoc money bill printing to save your economy, which is terrible at this point, but it's not really his fault. It's mostly a Russian fault. And again, once you get out of Russian sphere, just go with full tariffs. Would save your country. Now switching to Arabia. There we go. Arabia is still an uncivilized country, and I don't know why is he not tariffing these people at 100%. He's not even close to making factories, not even going to mention fully industrializing. And pretty decent size of an army for this stage. I'm pretty sure he does have he can make infantry, but it does seem like he decided not to make them too much of them, because that would just suck up his money. Encouraging clergymen, that's okay, although I don't think Taza is the best region for that. He should certainly try to say Lower Egypt and stick to it. That is his best region. Our coalition allow them to take that one, since he has a course on everything here in Africa, so that's okay. As for tax, there is not much to say here. He already got all the military reforms, so he will get maximum amount of research points from conquering. I would really suggest getting the education system, education reform, as the next one. Although it's not the most cost efficient, but it's a pretty decent tech, and it'll save you some time and gain you some literacy there. I suggest that Arabia should westernize in 15 to 20 years, I think. Well, they don't really have any valid targets. I guess they could fight Ethiopia if they're quick enough. And from that point, they will really have some hard time during the peace. They need to fix their country. As for the budget, construction up to the max, since they're not in a war, lower this to the minimum. Level spending, why? I don't know. Why is he making fleet? Absolutely not needed. Delete these. It's costing you money. Also delete these. Oh, actually, he has some units there. Oh, okay, that makes sense. But he should probably simply ask me for military access and then move your troops over here, for Africa. And that's again pretty much it for Arabia. Now, did I finish with their coalition? I think I did. I covered Spain, yep. So, switching to some of the more interesting countries here. Not going to switch to France, since France was played by Johnny and he pretty much knows what he's doing. I'm going for Netherlands, if I get to know what their tag is. I think I wrote it somewhere. Maybe didn't. Anyway, NGF then. I'll switch to Netherlands later on. NGF, there we go. As for NGF, I'll first take a look on the... Actually, I know his army size and army composition. This one is okay. He really built his armies weird, in a weird way. Let me show you here against France. Okay. He has 9 regiments of artillery here and only 4 regiments of infantry. And then I think in this army he has the opposite one. So too much infantry, too few artillery. And I strongly suggest making balanced attacks. Because later on, if you're fighting huge battles with over 200k men, then it'll be easier for you and would be more efficient for you to just pull one army out and then replace it with another army. If they're all of the same size and same composition. For example, if you have a stack of 5 infantry, 5 artillery that you want to pull out of the battle, and you have the same stack that will join the battle, then you're not losing anything. But in this case, if you're, for example, if this was a battle and these guys were in the battle, so you want to pull these guys out and you want to replace them with these guys, then you would have too much infantry and you would lack artillery there, while you had too much artillery and too few infantry here. So I definitely suggest making balanced attacks there. As for the budget, tariffs at 25%, no reason, 100. Education at why? Is it really the AI that is lowering these percentages? Might be. Anyway, administration to be low, that is okay. Military spending and education should be at 100%. There is no reason to keep it lower. As for stockpile, there is a high probability of France declaring war on Germany at any moment, so you want to keep your army fully supplied. Construction also up to 100%. That's pretty much it. As for tax, he has to focus on military tax, that there is no question about it. As for navy, you don't need that. I think he only maybe got 1 tech there, maybe nothing, I don't know. This is okay. As for culture, prestige tax are not needed. Go for state of the government, you need that national focus. Biologism not needed really. He's already at 80% literacy, so don't get it. And industry is okay. So you can't really go wrong. He already has some decent text here. I would definitely suggest state and government, phenomenalism, and then go for industry or army if you want. And that's pretty much it. He's encouraging craftsmen. No, you shouldn't do that, because there is a high probability, first of all, losing the war against Russia and France, losing some territories, and B, if you lose the territories that you have encouraged craftsmen in, then you will lose also time you spent encouraging those guys. So you would definitely like either clergymen or soldiers to be encouraged there. And that's pretty much it for NGF. Switching to Russia now. Okay. Didn't check NGF's clergymen was around 2% I think. Okay, tariffs at 25%, terrible. Education, whoa. No, I'm pretty sure the AI did this, lowering education spending. So education has to be at 100% at any point with Russia. Construction, okay, this is okay, no need to spend on fleet. Defense spending, not needed as Russia, you can mobilize a huge amount of brigades, so that's okay. As for tax, he did get culture tax, which is okay. Biology is there, so he'll get some literacy very, very soon. Nationalism, imperialism, decent choice since he has so many national focus points. Medicine is there, that's the important one. I would definitely consider getting railroads. He has no money problems, so no need for these tax. Definitely would like to see some more army tax here. If he is going into war with Germany, then he will need some army tax there. Muzzle-loaded rifles, artillery also. I don't know, let's check the army composition. 4-2-3. Merge these guys. 4-2-3 again. 4-1-3. I guess getting some more artillery would be good. These are quite okay stacks. So his army composition is okay. Now as for industry, I see that he started industrializing, but this is terrible, he shouldn't do that. Kiev is probably the only profitable province at this point, and he shouldn't really industrialize there. Let me check national focus points. Yeah, he's encouraging craftsmen, which he shouldn't be doing. He needs to get clergymen at least up to 3%, at least. You would like to get more with Russia. It's not impossible to get more. So definitely consider that. I understand that UK is making all of the goods in the world. Well, mostly. Most of the goods in the world at the moment, and he might want to reach them in that point, but furniture factory not needed. You have oh god. You have your artisans working in those, so not needed. You might want artillery factory and machine parts factory. Those are the only two factories you want at this point, because you can't get those goods. Probably, well, you can't get enough from your artisans, so that's the only thing you want there. As for expansions, I don't really think those promises were worth taking. I think you should. Oh, you can't. You can't yet colonize that. So I would definitely try to get Manchuria, which he's trying to do at the moment, because it has a lot of coal and iron. One of the best provinces in the world. Well, that's pretty much it for Russia. Russia's doing okay, just that I don't like the idea of Western industrializing early with Russia. I think it's kind of waste of time. So there we go. And finally switching to Netherlands. Oh god damn it, what's their tag? Oh, there we go. Really, Paradox. Why these tags? Oh, I was really having some problems with Netherlands. I was so close to becoming a great power, and then Netherlands just jumped it out of nowhere. Once they conquered Belgium, they became strong industrial power here. Now let's check the budgets. Budgets are terrible. Whoa, why not tax your people? Tariffs also 100% there. Education up to the max. Administration doesn't need to be more than 50% at the moment. You already have 100% administration efficiency, so no need for that. This way you can maintain your army fully. Construction also back to 100%. That's the budgets. Now army, I understand this way of thinking, but I think you should have at least army professional in here. He wants to have high level forts so that France can't really invade them. Since it is very likely that there will be a war between France and Russia on one side and Germany and the ones on the other side. Raider group doctrine not needed at the moment because it's still too early for decolonization to happen. So I don't know, might be a wasteful tech at the moment, although Netherlands does have the huge amount of research points due to high literacy, so they'll have enough time to compensate for that. This is okay. I might want to go with a market functionality here. And then, oh, culture, definitely state and government here. And you still might consider going for biologism. 62% literacy is okay, but somehow I feel that is kinda low for Netherlands at this point. Since he only conquered Belgium, I think it should be much higher. He only has 2.40 clergymen. If you want, you can ignore by social thought completely. Go for state and government here, because I think you will. Yeah, you will soon be able to have one more national focus point, and then from plurality you will have more research points also. Oh, definitely medicine. Medicine is a must. So definitely go with okay, this is what I suggest. Go for state and government, then go for medicine, and go for industrial techs. Also, if you want, you can go with architects. And then do this. Encourage your clergymen up to 4%, since you can do it. It's possible. Well, maybe not 4% because you still have Java and Sumatra, but you can get it at least to 3%, and then at that point you don't need biologism to increase your literacy rate. Now, as for factories, these are quite bad factories. Dutch Wallonia and London should have many more factories. Glass factory here is okay, but not really the best one. You should try to use leather and Dutch Wallonia are two of the best regions in the game for industrializing because of the goods they have. See, you have iron here, you have coal, so you should definitely go for steel factories and artillery factories here instead of glass factories, and then go for ammunition and explosive factories here because you have that sulfur and you have quite a lot of that. So go for that. Don't wait. Is there anyone I forgot to mention? There is Romania, but Romania was played by AI for some point because the Romanian player was subbing for France, which is in their coalition, and France was far more important at that point for them. So yeah, and lastly I'll switch to my country to show you what I was doing and why I think tariffs should be at 100%. So you can see I have 53 industrial power, which for the Sicily is extremely high, and I'm actually 5th in the world, right behind, let me show you, well, again, right behind UK, NGF, France and Austria. So Austria is only 15 points ahead of me, but that's not a huge deal, or actually 12, so that's not a huge deal, and I'm still above Netherlands, Russia, Canada, Bavaria and others. I think Scandinavia should be much better, doing much better in industry, but that's okay. And as you can see, I have 500,000 for, yeah, definitely the AI switched those, so I had my education up to 100%. Administration was at 50%. Military spending, I'm not completely sure, maybe it was 100%. There was also 100%. So the AI fucked up those. But I think I checked saves earlier, and most of the players did have tax, tariffs at 0%, which I think is terrible. Also, this one at the max, and this one at the max. No need to spend on Navy. Although, actually, maybe I was actually spending on Navy. I do have some ships. Building man of wars only because I want to become a great power. See, cattle ships 1.1. With these guys, that should be up to 4, 5, maybe. And at that point, if I become great power, I will try to form Italy. So anyway, go to budget again. See that I'm making quite some money there. Although it says -4 in 30, that's not a realistic state. Now, going into tax. I only started researching arm tax because there might be some wars in Europe soon and I want to be prepared. Also, France was justifying a war on Portugal and they didn't use eventually their Castles Valley, so that's okay. As for commerce, I didn't need anything. I wanted this one because I was close to becoming a great power, so I wanted to be able to sphere countries quicker. As you can see, industry, medicine, I just got early railroads, I think. And then I wanted mechanical production since there was no machine tools in the world, so I wanted to be sure that I can make those. And you'll see that I fully focused on culture. Here I will go for functionalism and biologism. I also got some prestige tax because I need to become great power for Italy to be formed. Don't need this one quite yet because I'm not sure. Oh, we can actually afford 5th national focus point, but it's not really necessary since we only have 3 or actually 4 state planets at the moment. So let me show you my industry. Okay, so in Campania, first of all, machine factory was made there by, because I needed somewhere, and the Campania is most populated region, so it was the easiest one to get enough workers for. Same thing goes with the regular clothes factories. Now Campania has some fruit, so I made a winery there. As you can see here, okay, fish, and some fruit. Now the Puglia region has some, again, fish, and grain. So this is the reason why I made, as you can see, liquor distillery there. And let me show it here. No, where is the goddamn? Okay, here we go. As you can see, we have bonuses at the bottom, plus 10% for producing grain in the state. So you want those bonuses whenever you can, and then we have plus 10% from producing grain, and plus 10 from producing cattle in the state, so that is a maximum bonus for cane food factory there. Now also we have a munition factory in Sicily, I think. And it also has bonus because we have sulfur factory, sulfur in the state. Now as for Lombardia, I also made a factory there. Luxury clothes factory, we have silk there, so again, a factory with a bonus there. And at some point I might want a cane food factory, because it would have huge bonuses from iron, cattle, and stuff there. Also might want a steel factory there. Now, that is pretty much it from my industry. I did show you, something else, and although my armies are not organized at the moment. Now in total I have 6 to 3, and then 7 to 3 engineers, these guys, Now, I was having a hard time getting artillery for the most of the game. I didn't stockpile. I didn't have enough money to stockpile every goods I think I needed in the beginning. Now, I'll show you my stockpile here. In the beginning, I stockpiled 800 machine parts too. Well, in the very beginning, like right from the bat. And then I continued stockpiling those whenever I had excess money. So now I have 2k machine parts in the stockpile, so if ever a huge country is trying to stockpile those, I'll be okay. I can make my own factories there. Plus I have my own machine parts factory, so that's okay. So for the production, actually the game needs some time to pick up everything. I'm gonna pause now and show you the tariffs. Now I'm building stuff and I'm going to comment on that. The economy is still not stabilized there. It's quite stable at the moment. So as you can see, I'm making tons of money with 100% tariffs and with all the budgets at maximum, except of course administration one. And let's switch to factories there. Now my factories are actually making money. As you can see, machine parts factory is making huge amount of money. Luxury clothes factory, even the canned food, which is one of the least profitable factories in the beginning. Also fertilizer is one of the least profitable factories. All of these are making money, even with very high tariffs. Now if I lower our tariffs, the economy will still go up and down because there are the AI doesn't do the same thing as the players do. So if I lower our tariffs, I'm gonna lose 500 or around that. And then check my factories. So I got plus 33 here. This one is actually making less money. This is making plus 20. And that's pretty much it. So I gained plus 50 from factories, and I lost 800 basically, or even more. Let's see, 600 there. So it's really not worth it, and it's not benefiting your factories in any way if you lower the tariffs. If you're subsidizing your factories there. If you're not, then lowering tariffs will actually help your factories. Now this one is actually being expanded. So if I go, for example, with this, those factories will die because of high tariffs. But since I'm subbing those factories, I'm making money. And if I do, let me show you this. So go to 0 tariffs, and then go to factories and cancel subsidies. My factories are still not stable. As you can see, canned food factory is not making money, fertilizer is not making money, machine parts are not making money, and they're actually losing workers there. Binary is making some money because it's easier for them to get goods, but ultimately it's not worth it. You're still losing money in total, which is the main reason you want those factories. So definitely, 0 tariffs work only with laissez-faire, and at the point before huge industrializing in your country. For example, if you're playing Russia and you've not been industrializing for the most of the game, for example 40-50 years, and then you want to industrialize quickly, so that is when you lowered your tariffs to 0 and you start making factories everywhere, all around the country. So that is the point when you want your tariffs at 0%. And then you want to make sure that you only have profitable factories before switching to laissez-faire at some point. Which I don't personally like, but is by far the best one when it comes to industrial power. Well, that's pretty much it. If I forgot to mention something, or I know there are countries that I didn't mention. Some of them are from my coalition. They were doing mostly what I said, so I'm pretty sure they're doing great. And also some else. Maybe the interesting one was Switzerland. But there is not much Switzerland can do. They're a democracy in Europe. They're surrounded by everyone, and I think they're in Austrian sphere. Yeah, they are. So they will not be making any money. What I suggest for Switzerland is to get rid of infantry, get irregulars. So that way you will still have military power, but you won't be spending money on army, because irregulars are extremely cheap, and due to your high level forts in country and mountains there, no one is going to attack you, so you'll be pretty safe even with only irregulars. Oh, there you go, guys. Again, if I forgot to mention something, if you have some questions, post them in comment section on YouTube or on forum. I will leave the link in the description so you can check the multiplayer forum there. Thanks for watching. Have fun.